Hi, I'm Terry Kyle, the co-founder of WPX.net. It's a pleasure for me today to welcome Rob Palmer, who is a current WPX customer, and also, interestingly, he is the current air guitar champion of Thailand, and we'll get to that a little bit later and find out a bit more information on that. Rob may also be one of the very first digital nomads. Possibly we'll talk about that with Rob, and also he may well be the first or one of the first bloggers to ever exist. So it's a pleasure to welcome Rob. And Rob, if you can introduce just with a quick biography of your life so far.
Yep. Yeah. Hi, Terry. It's really great to be here. So very quickly, I've been an online marketer for over 20 years. But going back before that, when I was a kid, I always wanted to be a writer. But my parents thought that's not a proper job. You need to be like an engineer or something. So I was kind of headed for a career in engineering. When at one time, when I was about 19, I was out with some friends on a boat, and being young and stupid, we ended up falling out of the boat, nearly drowned. And I remember sitting somewhere that we got rescued at the last minute, and I remember sitting on the beach thinking, well, do I want to waste my life being an engineer, which is not something I want to do, or am I going to follow my dream? Now I've got a second chance, and I can use this second chance to do what I want to do. So I decided to become a writer, and that's been the foundation of everything that's followed ever since. So that was nearly 45 years ago, and I'm still write almost every day, and I still love what I do. So I launched online business in around about 2000, and when that took off, that gave us the freedom to move from the UK. So with my family, we moved to Australia, and my kids grew up surfing after school, doing all the cool Australian stuff, and they still love it there now. Giving me the freedom to travel, come to Thailand, and I currently live in Bangkok, still running an online business, still doing, I'm also a copywriter, and having fun doing the whole thing.
Great. And the way that you needed to pitch it to your parents, Rob, is that you would be an engineer with words.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. But I just decided, that's what I'm doing, and they have to live with it.
What was the beach? What was the beach, Rob, where you had your near-death experience?
This was in the UK, so it's in Wales, Saundersfoot.
Okay.
A little small little town. Yeah. Not much happens down there, so that was the most exciting thing that ever happened in Saundersfoot. But certainly that day changed my life. One of the days that changed my life.
Got it. And Rob, how has online marketing and digital business changed your life for you and your family?
Yeah, it certainly changed everything for us. But before that, all through the 90s, I was working as a freelance copywriter based in London. And that was good. I was earning decent money. We had a good life, good friends and everything. But we also had kind of British winters, and it was house prices were expensive. Then I kind of launched this online business, not quite sure what would happen. And that kind of took off. And that gave us the freedom to say, okay, I'm not tied to London anymore. We can go somewhere else. Initially, we thought we'd go maybe 40 miles to Brighton, or something like 100 miles to the Devon or somewhere, and then we thought, what the heck, let's go all the way. And we had a fantastic vacation in Australia, in Queensland, from the year before. So we emigrated to Queensland and ended up living in New South Wales. Our family is still there and still love the Australian lifestyle.
Yeah, if you remember the web back in the late 90s, Rob, it looked a bit different back then. I remember using a browser called Mosaic, I think it was then, CompuServe Mosaic. Yeah. And actually, in one of the worst ever predictions in history, I looked at it and said, this internet thing is complete junk, it's going nowhere. It just looked awful. But obviously... over time, and particularly now, my own view is that the web and digital business has just opened up so many different life choices and life options that just have never existed before. Most of the tools are free or ridiculously cheap. And when I was a young adult, if you want to start a business, you open a restaurant or you buy a shop, you create a shop or something like that, which is just insanely expensive and financially risky compared to what you can do with digital business now.
yeah, now you can get started with less than $1,000, or you've got the real chance to make $1 million a year. It's not fantasy. People do that. It's entirely possible. And yeah, it's just, as I say, so much opportunity, so many things you could do. Plus, we have so much more information. Like 30 years ago, there was no Google, no YouTube. You'd have to go to your library and find a book, and there might be one book on marketing, and that's all there was for you to go from. Now you have an absolute abundance of information. If you want to launch an Amazon FBA business, there's tons of free training you can do on that. Whatever you want to do, it's so much easier.
Absolutely. It's kind of a golden age, and I think sometimes that gets a bit overlooked. But I think we live in what will be viewed as a kind of a golden age of opportunity. And I think the thing about writers, and actually I have a copywriting background as well, so that's another interesting parallel apart from our Queensland Australian stuff in our lives there. I think as a writer, you're constantly working in turning your imagination into real things. So in my own case, I do that or have done that on things like books and films, but I'm currently doing it with a dog shelter here with 140 dogs here. And I know you're in Thailand, you're in Bangkok now, and one of the big dog charities in Thailand is Soy Dog, which you may have seen on Facebook. And I have met some of the people from that at a Battersea training actually earlier this year.
Great people.
Yeah. So I think that the power of the writing thing is so much about just, we can imagine things and then turn them into reality. And obviously the digital world gives us a great opportunity to do that.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, people often think about things like copywriting as a way to make money, but so that's one option, but you can use it to achieve all kinds of goals. If you have writing skills, like I'm also involved in Toastmasters, which is about public speaking. And if you can master those skills, that opens up new ways to build your career. So words are always going to be the center of communication. Nothing that hasn't really changed, even though the medium of how we communicate has changed so much. Now it's online, these kind of meetings, YouTube channels, whatever. It's at the end of the day, it's still about words. Words matter.
Sure, they do. And I think public speaking is a great required skill for leadership. If you're any kind of leadership role, public speaking is kind of a must-have skill, really important for it. So, Rob, what is your advice for those planning on becoming digital nomads? They're kind of newbies at it, thinking about it, not sure, should they do it or not? What is your advice for people like that?
They should absolutely do it, I think this is a fantastic time now. The tools are so great. You have everything like Slack and Zoom and all these kind of tools we have for online collaboration that just make everything so much easier. And also now, so many countries have launched digital nomad visas, so you can go to like Brazil and stay for a year, whereas 2 years ago that was really impossible to do. And that's true all over the world now. There are dozens, if not hundreds of countries you can go to and stay for a long time and become part of the community, enjoy the life. And I think the opportunities are always getting better. Like sometimes in the forums of things, you hear people saying, "Oh, it was great. Amazon FBA was great if you started 5 years ago, or SEO was great if you started 7 years ago." But I totally disagree with that. Now is always better than it was before. The tools get better, the information gets better, the opportunity, the audience is getting bigger all the time. Think of how amazing it is that you could be on a beach, or you could just be on a holiday somewhere, and I could run an ad, set up an ad on my phone. You might see it on your phone on a different continent and buy my product. I mean, that was unimaginable 25 years ago.
Well, I remember as a kid when you wanted to send someone a photograph, you took your film to the chemist, the pharmacy.
Yeah.
It took a week or so to get developed. Most of the photos were crap. They were kind of blurry. And then you mail them in the snail mail post to somebody on the other side of the world. It might get there in a couple of months.
Yeah.
Now it's all instant.
Yeah, and so when we first moved to Australia, so that was when I really became a digital nomad. But in those days, there was no Wi-Fi, there was no internet, there were no co-working spaces. So every time we wanted to move from one location to another, I'd have to rent an apartment or rent a house and arrange to have an extra phone line installed so I could use that for my computer to get online and do my work. I mean, that seems crazy now. We just assume you have universal Wi-Fi.
Yeah. I mean, one example of that, very briefly, Rob, is so I walk my 3 dogs on a mountain near the city here every morning. We go for a big mountain walk off the leash for like 10 or 12 kilometers. And 2 of my dogs, if they see other people on the mountain, they want to run off and spend the day with them, which is not very convenient for me. So they have GPS trackers, and through an app on my phone that cost me €5, like $5 a month, I can see, and it uses Google Maps, precisely where they are from a satellite in space, telling me where my dogs are on a mountain in Bulgaria for $5 a month per GPS tracker. This is like, if you told me this as a kid or young adult, this is like science fiction fantasy stuff.
Yeah,
but now it's completely normal.
Yeah, and now it's accelerating with AI. That opportunities with that are absolutely amazing. I'm very deep down the AI rabbit hole and using it for all kinds of things. That's going to change the way we do everything, and I'm very excited about the opportunities there.
Yep. Now, Rob, one of the things you consider yourself is a direct response copywriter. For people who don't know what that is, can you explain exactly what that is and how that's maybe different from other types of copywriting?
Sure. Yeah. So actually, I became a direct response copywriter by accident. I didn't even know I was a direct response copywriter for several years. So I actually started out as a journalist. And then after a while, I realized that people doing marketing type writing made a lot more money than journalists. So I kind of switched over. And then I ended up working on these kind of sales projects. And eventually I realized that this was direct response marketing. So I was working with companies like Microsoft, working on direct mail campaigns. So direct response copywriting is really just writing the words you need to sell a product. So it could be that you run ads on Facebook, and someone sees your ad, clicks through, they read your sales page or watch your video and buy the product. So you're looking to get that instantaneous sale, you'll get from the ad to the sale within the hour, certainly. And it's challenging. It's not easy, but it's also a fascinating art. There's always new things to learn. Even after 40 years doing it, I'm still learning new stuff every day. Very interesting, but also an extremely powerful weapon. If you get good at it, then you can persuade people and help people and do all kinds of good stuff.
Yeah, it's a great skill. And if you think about other types of copywriting, and I was much more a copywriter like you in that type of work, but there are also kind of brand copywriters who just work on top-level brand stuff, which I'm not a huge fan of. Really? Where you just come up with some logo like reinventing the future, which could be anything from toilet paper company to electric car company or whatever. And I think it's the the direct response copywriters who really have to earn their pay. And it is a great skill set to have. Yeah. So, Rob, what do you think is the best type of copy that generates the maximum revenue or ROI?
Yeah, I've probably changed my view on that. A few years ago, I might have really said that a good copywriter can sell anything. But now I realize you also have to have it all starts with a great offer. So it's a combination of the two, a really good offer that's really appealing, and combine that with great copy, and that's a combination that's really powerful. So if, for example, with WPX, you've got a great offer because, as you know, there are lots of kind of mediocre hosting companies out there, and I've used many of them, and you get disappointing support and slow website, all that kind of thing. As you know, with WPX, you can get fast hosting, it's reliable, and with any technical issues, the support team is fantastic. So you've got that offer, but just having just the offer, you can make some money, but it's not going to be a huge business unless you also have the good kind of copywriting and communication, the marketing funnel to spread the word. So it's that combination between the two that's really powerful.
Yeah, my own theory is that because our attention spans are getting shorter and shorter all the time, and obviously the rise of TikTok and that kind of way of consuming things, that it's almost like copywriting has become offer writing, where you've got to compact things down to a super short offer, a super short message. And if you can actually be a really strong offer writer, and I think the advantage that we have now in this age is the ability to test and split test and get results very quickly. If you go back to the old pre-internet days where we're writing for publications, it might be 6 months before the thing comes out and 9 months before you even see any kind of result or not from that. So I think, again, another great part of the digital age is the amount of testing that we can do with our copy or our offers.
Yeah, you've got so much more data to work with. Yeah.
Can you tell us the story about your Apple campaign and what happened with that? Because that's a really interesting story, Rob.
Okay, so that goes back quite a long way, back to the 90s, before the internet. An agency I've been doing some copywriting for, they approached me and said, we got a new client and we'd like you to come do some work for them. And it turns out the client was Apple UK. And at that time, there were no Apple stores. It was long before Apple stores. And all Apple sales at that time were through dealers. And someone at Apple UK thought we should go direct and sell direct to consumers. So they decided to launch a catalog. And they brought me on board as the copywriter for that. And that was a very interesting product. It was very kind of full on, we had to dive in the deep end, and we were working like 18 hours a day for a few weeks to get this catalog out. And it was a huge success. It was they sold an awful lot of product. But it was so successful, we had to ship in extra product from Europe because they were selling out in stock in the UK. It was going great, but the only problem was the dealers weren't happy because we were sucking all the sales out of the dealerships. And all the dealers were going broke. So in the end, the dealers took Apple to court and sued them to stop them doing this direct marketing campaign. And in the end, Apple said, we're going to have to quit it. So it was so successful it had to be closed down, which is the only time that's ever happened to me, certainly.
Wow. Now, Rob, I'm going to reword this question that's been posed to you here. Is there a particular word as a copywriter that you favor, that you think has quite a lot of impact? One of your favorite go-to words in offers?
Yeah, well, I don't really have a word for offers, but I think in life in general, a couple of words, but I always say yes is the most important word. It's certainly when you're writing copy, you're trying to get people to say yes to maybe small decisions, a small thing. Do you want to opt in to the newsletter? Oh, yes. Do you want to find out more about this new idea? Yes. And eventually you're getting down to the sale and maybe to the upsell. And each of those is a little yes. And I think that's key to the success in life is when you look back on life, I think you end up, maybe you regret the things that you didn't do much more than the things you did do. I have few regrets about the things I did, but I do look back and I think, I wish I'd done that. I wish I'd taken that opportunity. So I think definitely you should say yes. On my social media profiles, my tagline is, the answer is yes. And as far as possible, I try to say yes.
Good philosophy. I like
and also another one now, I think nowadays I'd add to that, the second word is now. You really want to take action now. Again, with copywriting, you have to get people to act straight away, because if they don't, you've got that urgency to get them across the line. Otherwise, you're going to lose the sale. I think the same thing in life in general, that you want to do things now. You can't do things yesterday. Yesterday's gone. You can't do it tomorrow because it's not here yet. And if you keep saying, I'll do it tomorrow, you'll never do it. So you have to take action now and do it.
Yep. Like it a lot. And obviously our target audiences, whoever they are, live in a world of distraction. And your competition is not just your obvious competitors, but everything else trying to get their attention as well, from YouTube to TikTok to billboards, whatever it might be. So you got to be able to cut through with impact, and that gets a bit harder with more distraction.
Yeah, but certainly, there is a lot more competition nowadays, but there's still a lot of opportunity. Still, also a much bigger audience. So,
on the opportunity thing, Rob, you mentioned those tools earlier, like Slack and Skype and Zoom and things like that. Often, those big tools have some weakness or flaw that you can actually build a piggybacking product on, and kind of go after their user base, something that frustrates you in using it. We use Skype, for example, a lot here, which is pretty ancient and horrible, but we're not moving. Probably it's a bit inconvenient to move. So I really encourage entrepreneurs when I'm talking to them in the digital space to look at those kind of annoying frustrations with big tools that they're using. It could be Excel, it could be Zoom, or whatever it might be, and see if you can come up with and just hire like a software dev. Over the years, I've developed loads of software. I'm not a coder at all, but I knew precisely what I wanted the tool to do, and I was able to project manage it just like you would hire an accountant or a lawyer or a dentist or anybody like that. You kind of know the outcome that you want. And if you've got that, you definitely talk to a software developer. You can hire them at Upwork or places like that, and get them to build it, usually at a very reasonable price. And you've got could have a great digital business from that.
It's surprising that what seemingly small idea can actually grow to become quite a substantial business. If a lot of people have the same frustration and you can fix that problem, then you've got a great business. Like the Slack is a good example. Slack was basically designed to fix the frustration of complicated email threads when you lose track of who said what, and that's created $1 billion company.
Acquired by Salesforce for crazy money. You look at something like Figma, which just took a pretty simple idea of basically multiplayer version of Photoshop. You have a runaway, obviously it took them years to get there, but you had a runaway hit product.
Right.
So in earlier discussions, Rob, you had made a somewhat exaggerated claim that you plan to stay with WPX until you're 100 years old. And earlier you talked a bit about being unhappy with other hosting companies, which is actually why we created WPX in the first place. So can you just tell us your own experience with WPX and why you're a fan and what has been the journey like for you so far?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, first of all, I don't think it's an exaggerated claim. I have no intention of retiring. I want to be doing this till I'm 100, and I don't think I'll find a better hosting company than WPX. So I'll hold you to that on my 100th birthday. We'll see how we're going on that. But before I found WPX, I was using various other companies, the kind of hosting companies that everybody knows. And I was kind of disappointed, especially with site speed, the slow loading pages, which are affecting the problem of SEO and bounce rates, that kind of thing. And also maybe a long list of plugins that you're not allowed to use, or this kind of thing. And especially with support, where if you have some kind of technical issue, you very often couldn't get a decent answer. So like with WordPress, it's great when it works, but sometimes you get a plugin conflict or something, and you get some strange error 509. You don't know what it means. And I found with some hosting companies, you contact them and they say, this is a plugin company's responsibility. You need to contact them. And then the plugin company would say, no, your host will sort that out. And you're going around in circles and trying to figure out what the hell it was. And the best thing about WPX is the support team is fantastic. Whatever problem you have, they'll fix it. If it's within their power to fix it, they will do that, even if it goes way beyond the boundaries of what a hosting company is obliged to do. And that's so helpful because I can get on with running my business instead of spending 3 days trying to find someone on Upwork who knows how to fix this problem, that kind of thing. So the combination of fast hosting, reliable hosting, and great support is a really good combination.
Yeah, we actually view innovation as a company-wide thing, and innovation isn't just technology. And it always struck me as very strange that in the hosting business, if a customer has a technical issue, the company, the host, will just send you a long, complicated article and expect you to solve the problem. So imagine if you're a surfing blogger or a cooking blogger or travel blogger, whatever it might be, and your site crashes because of what you say, a plugin conflict or whatever. And now they just send you an article and it's like incredibly long and complex. You don't know anything about it. It's a bit like if your car broke down and you took it to Toyota and the mechanic just threw you the manual and said, just read chapter 6 and find the solution and fix it yourself. It's crazy. Yeah. And I don't think many other industries expect that or do that. So for me, personally, it was kind of a no-brainer that instead of bothering with that, why don't we just step in and fix it? Because we're doing this all the time. The guys here can troubleshoot those problems. They can identify it probably in a couple of minutes with a few quick tests, get the site back up and running, or even restore it from yesterday's copy, whatever it might be. And the customer, the user, can just get on with running their business and not have to be a technical expert. At the time, I think we were the only host doing that. Even today, there might be a few, but probably less than half a dozen who actually do that. But to me, it just seemed an obvious thing to do. And the other thing that I wanted to add to that, Rob, and we pushed for this a long time ago, was an extremely fast response time. So we have been averaging, according to Live Chat Inc., the software that we use, we've been averaging under 30 seconds, about 25 seconds for probably the last 5 years. And part of that is that the person who responds in under 30 seconds can actually fix your problem and you don't get escalated through various teams. Again, that's not a good experience, that's frustrating. So we think those are really important innovations. And if you look at something like, we now have over 3,000 5-star reviews on Trustpilot, almost all of them talk about the exact thing that you mentioned then, which is that fast support where they just step in and fix the problem for you. And that speed of response really does make a difference. Because if your website's offline, you're losing money. That's a big problem. So you don't want to be waiting hours for the support to get back to you. So just to have just to have the response to say we're looking at it, we're on it. You know that someone's dealing with that. That's a great help, and usually it's fixed very quickly. Even if it's more complicated and it has to be escalated to somebody else, it's still dealt with very promptly. So I really appreciate that. That's very valuable service. Thank you, Rob. Now, for you, Rob, personally and in business, what does success look like? What do you regard as success?
So I think I would say it's freedom, which I would define as being financial freedom, location freedom, and time freedom. So when I say financial freedom, for me, it's not about being able to buy a Lamborghini or a mansion on the beach. I don't really care about that kind of thing. But just having the freedom that that if I'm working, it's because I want to work, not because I have to pay the bills at the end of the month. And just having the freedom that, let's say you have a health issue, you can go to hospital and get it fixed and you don't have to worry about how you're going to pay for it or that kind of thing. So I think that kind of financial freedom is important, just the security. And location freedom is great. I love this kind of digital nomad lifestyle where I can live anywhere I want. I don't have to move. Like some people think if you're a digital nomad, you're kind of obliged every 3 months to move to a new continent and do something new. I don't see it that way. It just means I spend most of my time here in Bangkok, which, by the way, it's just been today nominated the #1 digital nomads destination. So definitely a good place to check out. But it does mean if I want to travel, if my son says, "Oh, I'm going to Affiliate World in Dubai, like he did last year. Do you want to come with me?" Sure. We'll just hop on the plane and go. So you have that freedom to do that. And also time freedom, that it's great to get away from trading time for money and be able to take a week off if I want to go to the islands in Thailand, spend a week lying on the beach, island hopping. I can do that, and the business was to continue to run. So that you have those three things, I think you have a good life, and that's my definition of success.
And if you think about how unique that is in the history of human work over the course of human civilization, this is a relatively new thing. And even I can remember very, very well in the world that I grew up in, Brisbane, Australia, that really all you should worry about is just getting a job. Doesn't matter what the job is, just get a job. And if you've got that, just keep that for life, and that's it. That's kind of the limits of your imagination and travel and exploration, all of that, maybe a bit on your holiday. So again, it comes back to the thing, we do live in a unique era, and I think it's pretty exciting and empowering to be a part of this age.
I love it. We're so lucky to be born in this time. I've seen such a huge change in 4 generations in my family. Like my grandfather was a coal miner in Wales, spent 50 years working down the pit, doing a horrible job, working 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, only saw sunlight on Sundays during the winter, basically had a pretty miserable life. And then my dad, my granddad didn't want my dad to have the same experience, so arranged for him to go to England and got him a kind of better job. So he had a kind of white collar career, which was definitely a step up, but he was still doing the 9-to-5 routine. And then for me, I managed to escape the 9-to-5 and found the online business and become a digital nomad and live this dual lifestyle. And then my oldest son, Ben, when he was 14, he asked me how I was making money on the internet. So I showed him how to create a product and put it on ClickBank. And he's been a ClickBank vendor ever since. And now he's a ClickBank Platinum vendor, and he's never had a proper job. That's been his whole career is to be in this online business, and he literally travels the whole world. So just in those 4 generations, my granddad he couldn't have imagined the life that Ben is living today. Things have changed so much.
Yeah, brilliant. And here at WPX, everybody is on unlimited home office. We have no return to office mandate and haven't had since the pandemic, and we're not going to. And really the challenge, and it's not that much of a challenge because it's pretty well run here. We have a great team and team leads, is that people can work from anywhere as long as they want, as much as they want. So our team really appreciates that. We have about 110 staff here now, and they could be working from down the street or the other side of the world if they want to go there for a while, and they really value that freedom, location freedom.
Yep.
Now, Rob, we need to get on to the big burning question, which is your air guitar victory.
Yep.
So you are currently the Thailand champion for air guitar. Can you here we are. That's it. There's the proof right there. Now that's impressive. Forget about all the digital stuff. That's the really impressive thing. Can you tell us a little bit about the experience of playing and winning that competition, the song you chose, and how it all came together for you?
Sure, okay, and that really was a result of saying yes, as we were talking about earlier. So it's just over a year ago, a friend of mine here in Thailand sent me a message on Facebook saying, we're doing an air guitar contest in Bangkok tomorrow. Do you want to participate? So I said, yes. And then as soon as I said yes, I think, okay, well, how am I going to do this? Because it's a kind of performance art. So you're basically pretending to play a guitar like a teenager in the bedroom, but you turn it into a show is the idea. So most people have a kind of character. So I thought, well, what kind of character am I going to do? As it happened, I'd done a speech in Toastmasters a few weeks earlier as Donald Trump. So I already had a Donald Trump wig and a MAGA cap. So I thought, okay, well, let's go with Donald Trump. So I did that. And I had to pick a piece of music that was appropriate. So I figured Green Day's American Idiot was the absolutely perfect song for the occasion. And I entered having no expectations of winning, because some of these guys take this stuff very seriously. But I think I won on the weirdness factor. I think I got some votes for just doing something completely different. And actually, I won it in Bangkok, and the price for that was all expenses paid for to Oulu in Finland to compete in the World Air Guitar Championship final last August. So went to that, and that was fantastic. And again, it was great. I could, because I have this lifestyle, I was able to just drop everything and go. I didn't ask my boss for permission. And also my son Ben, he when he found out about it, he wanted to go as well. And the same thing, he didn't have to ask for time off. He could just book his plane ticket and go. So we met up in Finland. We all had a great time. I did the guitar contest. I didn't win, but I met a lot of really cool people, and I had a fantastic time.
That's great, amazing. And is the video of your performance on YouTube?
It's not on YouTube, but you can find for you. If you Google the Air Guitar World Championship, you can find the link to last year's performance, and I'm in the video.
There are a bunch of incredible air guitar videos on YouTube, and if you want to have a good laugh for people watching this video, go to YouTube and check it out. Like you say, they take it incredibly seriously. It's a big deal, and it's a real thing now. Like, it's a global phenomenon, air guitar, and it's hilarious. It's great to watch.
It's been going since 1996.
Wow.
It's getting better every year. Yeah.
Rob, it's been a total pleasure today. I appreciate your time. So if you would like to catch up with more of Rob's stuff and find out more about his blog content or copywriting, just head over to robpalmer.com, or you can catch up with Rob on LinkedIn as well. Thank you again, Rob. Have a good day there, and we'll be in touch soon.
Yep. All right. Pretty good talk to you, Terry. Okay.
Thank you. Bye for now.